I was praying to God that I was pregnant when he got married.
That was Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, the woman who told the world she was still grieving, still praying, still devoted.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in Jake.
Similarities between her dead husband and the Vice President of the United States. Let that sit for a second.
Problems within the confines of marriage.
I don't... We need...
What? We're checking the light? Oh, okay.
And that man, one she filmed that tape with, is the same man she's allegedly been secretly engaged to, using money that was never hers to spend. But here's what nobody is connecting. The grieving widow isn't grieving, she's spending, and the money trail leads somewhere nobody expected. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, because this story has layers, and every single layer connects back to one thing: Erika Kirk and money that doesn't belong to her. For months, people have been watching Erika Kirk with a level of suspicion that goes way beyond normal celebrity gossip. And the reason people are so locked in isn't just because she's controversial. It's because every time a new piece of information drops, it fits perfectly into a pattern that was already forming underneath the surface. And on February 23rd, 2026, Candace Owens made that pattern impossible to ignore. Candace dropped a trailer. She's calling it Bride of Kirk. And before we even get into what's in it, just the title alone tells you everything about what angle she's coming from. Because Candace isn't tiptoeing around Erika anymore. She's not hinting, she is accusing. And the headline accusation? Erika Kirk allegedly used Turning Point USA funds donor money to buy an engagement ring, not for herself as the recipient, as the buyer. Because according to Candace, Erika secretly got re-engaged to her ex-boyfriend JT Massey, and she allegedly paid for it herself with money that was supposed to go toward conservative causes, toward the movement Charlie dedicated his life to building. Let that land. We're not talking about personal savings. We're not talking about the life insurance payout. We're talking about organizational funds, tax-exempt donor contributions, money that people sent in because they believed in the mission, and according to Candace Owens, that money found its way onto another man's finger in the form of an engagement ring for Erika Kirk's ex.
When I met Charlie, the only reason I sat down with him because I thought it was a consulting position for work. I did not date in Manhattan.
She didn't date in Manhattan. She wasn't seeing anyone. Charlie was basically her first real relationship. That's the story she told. Except it isn't true, because before Erika ever walked into whatever room she claims she thought was a consulting meeting, there was already a history, exes, connections, relationships she never publicly acknowledged until people started digging. Let's talk about the names that keep coming up. In the years before Erika met Charlie, there's actually a documented list of men she was connected to. Conservative media figure Cat Phillips, a cast appearance on Bravo's Summer House back in 2018 where she was positioned as a love interest for cast member Jordan Veeroy.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
So let's go grab a mojito? Yeah. We'll go grab a drink.
Oh, fine.
This is the same woman who now talks about how the highest role of a woman is to be a wife and a mother. The same woman who built her entire post-Charlie identity around traditional values and family first. And none of that is necessarily disqualifying on its own. People change. People grow. That's not the point. The point is that she lied about it. She actively presented herself as someone who had no romantic history before Charlie. And when you're lying about your past while simultaneously presenting yourself as a moral authority, that's when people start asking what else you've been lying about. And the answer to that question keeps getting bigger, because then you get to JT Massey. And this is where the whole story stops being about old audition tapes and starts being about what's happening right now.
We need...
What? We're checking the light? Oh, okay.
Single life, right? Because now, years after that tape was filmed, JT Massey is back. Not as a memory, not as an old story, as someone Erika has allegedly been secretly re-engaged to. The same man she laughed with on that tape. The same man she filmed that video with where she said confidently, without a moment's hesitation, sex sells. And according to Candace Owens, the ring that allegedly sealed that secret engagement, paid for with Turning Point USA money, donor money, Charlie's organization's money. money. Here's the thing about Erika Kirk's financial situation that people haven't fully connected yet. After Charlie died, she didn't just inherit sadness. She inherited an empire. The life insurance payout alone reportedly put millions of dollars directly into her hands. On top of that, Charlie had already been working on a book before he passed royalties, and deals tied to that would have kept flowing. And then there's the big one. She stepped in as CEO of Turning Point USA almost immediately, which means she now controls how that organization spends its money. Let's think about that for a second. She has personal millions from the life insurance. She has book royalties coming in. She has control over a major conservative organization's finances. And on top of all of that, she's been traveling constantly, attending events, maintaining a very active, very public lifestyle. So the question people have been asking is, where exactly is all of this money going? Because it's not going toward quiet, private grief. That's been made very clear by just watching her. And it's not all going toward the kids, apparently, because people have been noticing that for someone who constantly talks about motherhood and family, she sure does travel an awful lot without them.
These contain their annual financial statements. When you look at the forms, there are some very strange anomalies. Several of the 990 forms are missing.
Missing 990 forms. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, a 990 is the annual financial disclosure form that tax-exempt organizations are legally required to file. They're public documents. They're supposed to be transparent by design, and some of them are missing. Now, combine that with the fact that 8 days before Charlie died, he reportedly sent out an internal memo requesting a full Doge-style audit of Turning Point USA's finances. Not a routine check, a full audit. The kind you request when you think something is genuinely wrong.
Okay, y'all, let's not forget that 8 days before CK's, he sent out a memo asking for a Doge-style audit.
8 days before his death, he wanted the books examined. He wanted someone outside of the inner circle looking at where the money was going. And then he died. And then Erika took over. And then the 990 forms went missing. People aren't just speculating anymore. They're asking pointed, specific questions. And now there's serious talk that the IRS has actually been looking into Erika's finances, along with the broader finances tied to TPUSA, tax-exempt organizations connected to her allegedly under investigation. This stopped being gossip a long time ago. This is a paper trail with holes in it. Now, we need to talk about something that has been quietly spreading online, and it's the kind of thing that once you hear it, you can't unhear it. There are reports, and these are reports that have been circulating in conservative circles and online communities for weeks, that Erika Kirk allegedly sent inappropriate messages to a 15-year-old girl. A 15-year-old. And I want to be extremely clear about why this matters. Beyond the obvious, because we're talking about a woman who has built her entire public image around being a protector of children, a defender of family, a voice for traditional values and the innocence of youth. The audacity of that contradiction, if these reports are true, is almost too much to process. She goes on television, she goes on stage at conservative events, she talks about protecting children from the radical left. She uses the language of family values as her personal brand. And meanwhile, there are people saying she's been sending weird, inappropriate messages to a teenage girl. This is one of the accusations that Candace Owens has signaled she will be covering in the Bride of Kirk series. And the reason people believe it has legs is because it doesn't come out of nowhere. It connects to a broader pattern of behavior, where what Erika presents publicly and what she allegedly does privately are two completely different realities. The sugar mama accusations, that's one layer. The secret engagement funded by donor money, that's another layer. The multiple affairs that people close to the situation have been whispering about, that's another layer. And now this messages to a minor is potentially the layer that blows the whole thing open. Because if you're going to build your brand on protecting children and family values, and then you're allegedly sliding into the DMs of a 15-year-old with messages that people are describing as weird and inappropriate, you don't just lose your audience, you lose everything.
My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
Never do something you don't want on the front page of a newspaper. Well, Candace is making sure the whole world gets to read that front page. Let's go back in time for a second, because to understand what's happening now, you have to understand how things ended before Charlie died, because they weren't exactly perfect. The first sign that people have been pointing to is the missing wedding photo. For years, anyone who watched the Charlie Kirk show regularly would have seen it, a framed wedding photo sitting on the bookshelf behind him. It was part of the set. It was visible. It was intentional.
What do you notice different between this photo of Charlie Kirk at his desk and this photo of Erika Kirk at Charlie's desk? Wedding photo removed. I don't know. Do you guys think that's odd?
Gone. No explanation, no announcement, just gone, like it never existed. And that detail, that small, easy to overlook detail, is what started a lot of people down this rabbit hole. Because it's one thing to grieve privately, it's another to systematically remove evidence of the marriage from the set where Charlie spent so much of his life and work. And then came the ring story. Candace claimed that the night before Charlie was killed, he had allegedly taken off his wedding ring, and that the two of them had been going through pastoral counseling, meaning their marriage was in enough trouble that they needed outside help to hold it together.
Charlie took off his wedding ring during that same night, which is why he, of course, then had to put it back on.
He took it off, and then the next day he was gone. And now people are asking, what did Charlie know? Because the timeline of that audit request, the ring removal, the counseling, it all suggests a man who had started to sense that something in his life wasn't what he thought it was. There were even rumors widely shared, never officially confirmed, that Charlie had hired a private investigator to look into Erika, to find out what she was doing behind the scenes, who she was still connected to, whether there were things in her life she hadn't told him. And some people online claimed he had already taken steps to remove her from his will. That when he found out whatever it was that he found out, he made sure the money wouldn't follow her.
That money sitting there just going straight to their kids. She can't touch a dime. She even tried to contest the will, saying that they're my kids.
She can't touch a dime. She contested the will, and yet she's flying everywhere. Attending events, running an organization, allegedly funding an engagement ring for her ex. Where is the money coming from, if not the will? That question hangs in the air like smoke, and nobody has a clean answer to it. One of the most haunting moments in this entire story is the leaked audio, because it reframes everything that came after Charlie's death. In that clip, Erika can allegedly be heard laughing while talking about Charlie's memorial, and the phrase she reportedly used, the phrase that made people stop everything and rewind their feeds, was this. She called it the event of the century. The event of the century. Not the most devastating day of her life, not the moment that broke her heart. The event of the century, like it was a red carpet appearance, like it was something she had produced.
Erika Kirk and TPUSA are using Charlie Kirk's death to make hundreds of thousands, millions at this point.
Hundreds of thousands, millions off of his death. And it doesn't stop there, because while people were still processing Charlie's loss, while fans were still mourning, Erika and TPUSA were allegedly selling merchandise during the memorial period, using Charlie's death as a fundraising moment while his supporters were still in shock.
Thumbs up! Look how cute that is. Sorry, this is a little bit more informal than probably Charlie would be reacting. How sweet! I didn't know they could do that. I hate Sarah.
That's not a woman in the depths of grief. That's a woman who has already mentally moved forward and is just going through the motions for the cameras. Observers on Reddit and across social media described watching her public appearances after Charlie's death and noticing something that made them deeply uncomfortable. She didn't look broken. She didn't look lost. She looked like someone stepping into a role she had already rehearsed. Every smile, every poised interview, every perfectly composed appearance, it wasn't adding up to the image she was claiming to project. Now, let's get into something that, even though some people have tried to wave it off as silly speculation, has not gone away. And at this point, with everything else on the table, it's worth revisiting the J.D. Vance connection. There was a moment on stage, a hug between Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance, that sent the internet into overdrive. People replayed it, they analyzed it, and then Erika went on record and said something that, honestly, she probably should have thought through more carefully.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
Similarities between Charlie Kirk and the Vice President of the United States, said publicly, on record, while also allegedly being secretly engaged to her ex, while allegedly sending inappropriate messages to a teenager, while allegedly funneling donor money into her personal life. And that's the part people can't get past. It's not just one thing. It's not just the JT Massey engagement. It's not just the JD Vance comment. It's the pattern. Because when you line all of this up together, it starts to look less like a woman who made some questionable choices while grieving, and more like someone who had multiple situations running simultaneously and was counting on the grieving widow image to keep anyone from looking too closely. The sugar mama accusations didn't come from nowhere. They came from people watching Erika operate, watching her spend, watching her travel, watching her fund a lifestyle that requires money, serious money, while supposedly being locked out of the will and supposedly dedicated to Charlie's memory. Someone is paying for all of this. The question is, which account the money is coming from. There's one one more piece of this puzzle that people keep bringing up when they try to make sense of Erika's behavior, and it's the Tyler Robinson situation. Because the timeline there is genuinely strange. Before the trial even started, before anything had been formally adjudicated, Erika publicly forgave Tyler Robinson. Didn't hesitate, didn't wait for justice to play out, just forgave him, publicly and quickly, while the rest of the world was still trying to understand exactly what had happened. Now, that in itself could be interpreted as grace, as faith, as a spiritual decision made by a woman who believes in forgiveness. But then, after all the heat started building, after all the questions about the donor money, the engagement ring, the exes, the financial irregularities, the missing 990 forms, the IRS talk, the messages to the teenager, suddenly Erika is now pushing for a speedy trial. The same woman who forgave him before anyone asked her to is now urgently trying to fast-track the legal proceedings. And people find that interesting, not because forgiveness is wrong, but because the timing of the reversal lines up a little too neatly with the moment she started feeling the most public pressure of her life. It feels reactive, like she's trying to control a narrative that's slipping away from her, like she's looking for a story that makes her look strong and decisive at a moment when everything else is making her look suspicious. And that pattern reacting to scrutiny with sudden public action is very Erika Kirk. It's the same energy as the merch sales during the memorial, the same energy as stepping immediately into the CEO role, the same energy as doing press interviews instead of disappearing to grieve. This is a woman who understands image management, who understands that optics matter, who built her identity around being perceived a certain way. The question the world is now asking is, was it ever real? Any of it? And now we circle back to Candace Owens, because Candace is not someone who makes accusations casually. She's built a career on being extremely deliberate with what she says publicly. So when she releases a trailer called Bride of Kirk and openly states that she has full confidence Charlie was betrayed by people inside Turning Point USA, she is not speculating. She is telling you she has receipts. The trailer hints at the Romania connection old rumors that have swirled around Erika for years about a past she's never fully addressed. It revisits the financial irregularities. It frames Erika's entire rise after Charlie's death not as a woman stepping up in a time of loss, but as something that was potentially being planned long before anyone realized it.
I truly feel as if every piece of my life prepared me to date.
Every piece of her life prepared her for this. Maybe it did. Maybe that's exactly what people are afraid of. So let's put this all together, because individually, any one of these things could be dismissed, written off as gossip, waved away as speculation from people who don't like Erika Kirk for political reasons. But together it looks like this. A woman who lied about her past relationships, who was allegedly secretly re-engaged to an ex-boyfriend using organizational funds, who has been described as a sugar mama bankrolling men with money that may not be hers, who allegedly sent inappropriate messages to a 15-year-old, who reportedly contests a will that cut her off, whose organization has missing financial disclosures, whose finances may be under IRS investigation, who sold merchandise at her husband's memorial, who laughed calling that same memorial the event of the century, who removed the wedding photo from Charlie's set, whose husband reportedly removed his ring the night before he died, whose husband reportedly hired a private investigator to look into her, whose husband reportedly requested a full financial audit of their shared organization 8 days before he died. And now Candace Owens is making a documentary about all of it. This isn't a gossip story anymore. This is a reckoning. And the people who donated to Turning Point USA because they believed in what Charlie Kirk stood for deserve to know where that money went. Because if even a fraction of what's being alleged is true, the grieving widow thing wasn't grief. It was a performance, and the stage it was performed on was built with your donations. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you've been following this story, make sure you're subscribed, because when that Candace Owens documentary drops, we are going to be covering every single thing that comes out of it. Don't go anywhere.